everyone. Good afternoon, Poonam. Always. Today, we're chatting about a question that came in. When we catch unconsciousness after a long while and we're deep into a story, what to do? What to do? So there's many doorways back into our body, into the present moment, the timeless present moment. But when I've been in that space or been with someone that's in that space, their mind has gained so much momentum, then they need maybe something to jar them into even considering coming back into the thing. So one thing that I use, it's summertime right now. So this is lime balm, there's lemon balm, and it's a very intense and pleasant smell. And so it can draw our attention into a single sense. So isolating senses are, so all of these pointers, returning to the breath, isolating our senses, getting on the mat and moving our body, all of these are the doorways in. We don't want to get caught up in a discussion about all the facets of a doorway. We want to move into the experience of it and then let go of it, right? And then see, our mind might jump to another thought. I have something else to be doing now. I have 10% alleviation of my anxiety. I've touched the surface. So a nice jarring scent is a nice doorway in. Music, some music without any words, preferably. Mantra, if you're able to do mantra work. Those are nice ways to bring ourselves back in. So the mind might come in and want to start taking apart the anxiety about the story, right? So what we're looking at is moving back into our body, into the present moment. Nothing's going to be solved in our mind at this point because we're kind of locked down. Our unconsciousness has us locked down. Maybe identification with the story, so now identification with the solution, which is seeking and resistance. So I wrote a note on this. Does it truly matter whether I'm anxious because of exams or because there's a stressful day at work or because something happened with another person? So I recognize my anxiety and I feel my anxiety and I let my anxiety pass. So feeling it, meaning we put our attention there and then allow the anxiety to pass. So in the words of the Tao Te Ching, I wait until the water's clear and the mud settles before we potentially bring a problem to the fore to be considered. But we need to regain our mental balance, and then we can act with clarity of purpose. But put all that aside, we won't be forcing a preferred income or outcome if we are sitting in true presence, just to die every moment. So something that works for you, isolate the senses, make it pleasant music, something that's meeting yourself right where you're at right now. So beautiful. Poonam, when you have caught yourself deeply unconscious after a long while, I'm not sure if you moved into a deep unconsciousness, but when we're using our mind a lot for jobs like engineering, you must come back into your body about what, 5 minutes every hour, or how often do you come back to your breath or into your body?
I've not timed it. as to, but it's different. I feel thinking about work is still positive. Um, Thinking unconscious thoughts that, like reliving a trauma, right? If
Right.
somebody's raped, if they're reliving their rape, then over and over, like Byron Katie says, right? They're raping themselves over and over again. The event was over, but now if you're doing it 10 times a day, 365 days of the year, then you just raped yourself 360, 3,650 times,
Yeah,
right?
there is there is something very seductive that I discovered about my pain body, which is the, how addictive it is. It's almost a comfort to be in a space of suffering. At least you know the suffering. If you spent a lot of your life in deep suffering, then there's almost a comfort. And so we recreate circumstances over and over again where we're the primary states of being guilty, shameful, angry, isolated, these things. So that's deep. We work with the pain body from a space of trauma and forgiveness, but this is unconsciousness. I often have people ask about how to remain present when they're in a room. Say they're at an art gallery for a reception, and there's art everywhere, and people talking, and it's loud, and wine is being served, and decadent food, all kinds of attractiveness that we move out of our body and into that. Now it's 3 hours later, and we've just been competing and comparing. We're in that space now. So really, it's, I find isolating the senses. And another way is to create an even breath. So an in breath, the lower belly, to a count of 12 or 8 or 6 or 4, and then holding it for the same amount of time, suspending that breath, and then exhaling for that same count, and then holding the exhale out for that count as well, and then doing that 3 times.
I think the awareness to say, I mean, if you've been, I mean, if that person has been drawn into the unconsciousness already, the magnetism is already there, and we've been pulled. It's, I don't even know if they have the awareness that let me take the lemon leaf and smell it, right? But the
If
best thing to do would be like get up and leave and get in your car and go home and sleep. If you're, I mean, if that person is, if I was drawn to that extent into unconsciousness, then I would just put on my meditation music and ultimately fall asleep. I have one that is Yoga Nidra, which is puts a person to sleep, right? After the meditation. So it's like I would put on that and sleep. The best thing, because the greatest incentive to not get into negativity is we're going to manifest more of it. We're not going to get out of it. The more we think those thoughts, and this is one thing I've learned from Eckhart, is understand that your pure awareness and this thought is the content, and observe the content of your thought. What is the thought? What is the quality of the thought that you're thinking, right? Like you can think about, oh, I just need to put a thing in a spreadsheet, or you can think about, oh, that resentment of yesterday, right? The resentment of yesterday is what will create more resentments. The I need to go put something in a spreadsheet is okay because it's just positive action, right? You have to go do something. So there's a difference in the content of the thought. What is the content? So be the observer of your mind.
That's a nice observation. Another way, let's say we're not near some lime or lemon balm or a nice essential oil or any other pleasant, strong odor that can snap us out of it, or music, then we could do a Jack Cornfield sort of stepping away from it, recognize that, just name what the thought is. We're not going to hold on to the name. We're just stepping back from it so we can, you're observing. If there's that much, if there's enough awareness, if consciousness has come knocking on our door, then there's an awareness there. And so if we step back from it, if we step, we're able to see that it's that the unconsciousness has come in. We're the silent watcher that sees it. And once they were deeply identified and we need something to do, then see, oh, there is judging, right? Sometimes we another big pattern likes to show up, which is feeling shameful that we lost the consciousness. It's another thing. Or, oh, woe is me, I'm never going to get this. This is not, it's working for everybody else but me. So the awareness is there. So it's almost like it's graceful love that comes in that would put you in a place of going and putting headphones on and laying down on the bed, or finding isolating the senses, or taking a step back and recognizing, here I'm judging, here I'm story making, here whatever comes to you for what's happening. And then we step back from it. It takes the pins out of the magnetic pins out of the story and wakes us up, and then we settle back down. Here we are back in our body, back in our body 80%, let's say, right? And to meet ourselves where we're at, no resistance whatsoever. Yeah.
That's good. You want to stop at that?
Okay then.
Thank you.